Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. As you guys can see up on the screen, today we're going to be talking about the LEC because as of today, which I believe this video is going to be going out on Thursday, we are just a day away from the LEC returning. Obviously, this being the second week of the LEC. Now, this one's going to be a little bit different, especially coming off last week, which was the LEC Super Week, where we got to see all the teams play 3 games. That was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That was a ton of hype, a ton of fun, a lot of really, really awesome games, but honestly, kind of exhausting. A really long weekend, especially when you watch the LEC and the LCS. Just a ton of action. So I am a little bit disappointed that we're only getting 2 days of the LEC this week. It's just going to be Friday and Saturday, just 2 games for each team. But it'll also be a nice little break as well to just kind of catch our breath and kind of be able to digest everything that's going on a little bit more, because man, that was an exhausting weekend last weekend, but it was a ton of fun. In this video today, we're going to be going over what the standings are looking like, what kind of recapping last week, but then also looking ahead to this next weekend, giving my thoughts and opinions on all the matchups, and hopefully we'll be getting, your guys' thoughts and opinions and predictions and everything as well. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you're not already subscribed, definitely click that subscribe button really quick. It's fast, it's free, it's easy, helps you guys stay up to date on all my latest content, and I would appreciate it a ton. I mean, the stats are telling me that there's like a 70% chance that you right now are probably not subscribed, because people who watch my videos, only 30% of them are subscribed. So again, if you're not, help us out. Let's run those numbers up. Also, dropping a like on this video if you do enjoy my content, if you want to help support my channel, or if you just enjoy this video, that'd be awesome as well. Helps me out with the YouTube algorithm a ton. I mean, it would just be great. So with that being said, here we go, getting right into today's video. So as we said, up on the screen, we have the LEC, and first I just want to say, man, LEC in the studio, just League of Legends in the studios and stadiums and everything. I can absolutely not wait for that stuff to come back. Like, obviously, I know there's been so many problems in the world and stuff going on. This should be the last of our concerns, but I really, really am just looking forward to the day that we can start getting back in stadiums, start getting back in the studio and stuff. Even just watching the broadcast, like on Twitch or YouTube or whatever from your home, it's just so much cooler when you hear the fans going crazy after a big play or making fun of somebody or just it's just so much more hype, and the players get more into it, and you actually get to see the players on stage and everything. It just makes for such a better experience. So I'm really hoping at some point during 2021, hopefully we'll be able to start getting things rolling, because man, I'm so excited, and I want to start going to some events. I want to start getting back in person, get outside, start doing some stuff. So this picture I found of the LEC just kind of had me a little nostalgic, thinking back, reminiscent of the good old days, and hopefully there's some good old days ahead for us as well. But with that being said, let's take a look at the standings from last week. This is what we're looking at right now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams at 1 and 2. It was a crazy week where we had, G2 and Rogue beating everybody. So they were handing out a ton of losses. So that was going to make everyone's records kind of weird. Then we had some random upsets. We had a lot of crazy games going all over. But in the end, again, every single team pretty much is 1 and 2. We had Misfits pulling ahead a little bit at 2 and 1. And yes, they just have a 1-game lead. But honestly, they were able to be pretty consistent 2 games. And that was more than a lot of other teams in the LEC could say. So yeah, things are pretty interesting. I mean, there's so many different ways you could rank these teams, these 7 teams at 1 and 2. And in this next weekend, I'm really kind of thinking that obviously teams are going to start to pull away. Now, some years we have seen teams as the season goes on not pull away. I mean, I swear there were some years in the LEC where there was like 5 or 6 teams tied in the middle, even headed into the playoffs and stuff. But I do think things will start to shake out. Also, Google has this as Origin. That's Astralis. We know that. A lot of weird things. Excel, they don't even have a logo for. I'm not sure why they couldn't do that. It's literally just an X and an L. But again, a ton of these teams are made roster changes. They are having a ton of moving pieces and stuff. And synergies and everything, and just teams playing together, their relative strength will hopefully kind of play out over the course of the year. I think we will start pulling away, because right now, Fnatic is tied with Astralis in the standings. I don't think stuff like that is going to hold for very long. But again, a lot of the teams in the LEC look pretty inconsistent. Honestly, the LEC did not really, in my opinion, have an amazing start to the season. They were not looking just crazy to start. They weren't looking like a great league top to bottom. There's a lot of teams with huge question marks, with huge holes in their game. But again, hopefully if you have good coaches, good staff, everything, you'll fix those holes over the course of the season. And the LEC has a lot of fresh faces this season. There's a lot of teams playing a lot of young players at a lot of different positions. So it's kind of to be expected. But, the LEC's been pretty good recently. They seem to always figure it out. Obviously at the top we have G2 and Rogue. And I'm really excited for those teams to play. It's not going to be this week, but I believe it's next weekend we actually get to see G2 and Rogue. So I hope they both go 2-0 this weekend, because if we can get a 5-0 G2 against a 5-0 Rogue, that game's going to have insane viewership. It's going to be super high. It's going to have crazy trash talk, and it's going to be a ton of fun to watch. So that's kind of what I'm rooting for. Also, I think Misfits has been fun to watch so far. I hope they keep performing well. I hope Fnatic's able to bounce back, start showing some more consistent performances and stuff. But yeah, this, in case you were wondering what happened last weekend, this is kind of what we're looking at right now, headed into week 2. So here we go. This is the first day, giving my thoughts, opinions, predictions on everything. The first game, Mad Lions against Excel. I think this will be a really, really interesting game. And a win either way for either one of these teams could say a lot, could really, really help them out. Again, for Excel, I know I talk about it every time. Patrick and Jekyllad are the two guys that I'm absolutely looking out for. Patrick has looked pretty good to start the season. He is a very, very good AD carry, very talented player that people really expect to be good. And if Excel wants to be good, he's going to need to pop off and carry some games. Unfortunately for him, and unfortunately for Excel, Torre has not been great to start the season. He is kind of weighing him down. So it's kind of just going to be this back and forth between is Patrick going to be super good? Is Torre going to be super bad? Jekyllad has started out the season all right. He has not been absolutely popping off or anything insane like that. But again, if he can continue to ramp up and get better and better, this Excel team could be kind of scary. Mad Lions, on the other hand, is probably a more talented team on paper right now, but again, they're sitting 1-2 right now as well. They did not look super clean or super consistent last week, and surprisingly for Mad Lions, a lot of their problems were coming from the mid lane. I mean, Humanoid has been a rock for them, especially last season. He was really, really good in the MVP discussion at certain points during the season, really looking like one of the best mid laners in the LEC, but he has not looked like that so far. Part of that is because mid lane really everywhere across the world there's so many mid laners having weird splits, because mid lane, it just feels like it's in a weird place where it's not super, super relevant in the meta right now, which is surprising because we don't usually get that. Like you think Perks is kind of struggling right now, Humanoid's kind of struggling right now, Power of Evil's kind of struggling right now. There are definitely some guys doing good. Niski's had a solid start to the season. I wouldn't say Caps is doing bad or anything like that. We saw Vetheo, however you say it, having a pretty good start to the season for his team. Obviously, I cannot think what team he is on for some reason, Misfits. Humanoid has not had a great start to the season. That is pretty concerning for Mad Lions. Also, obviously, Aloya and Arma still kind of trying to find their footing as far as those things go. But in the end, I am going to be going with a win for Mad Lions. I do like the Excel team, and I do think they'll kind of ramp up and go over the course of the season. But right now, I do really think this Mad Lions team should be better than them. They should be able to take that one down. But I wouldn't be surprised either way. I think this is a pretty close matchup. Next up, another pretty close matchup, Schalke against SK. Again, 1-2 teams. Honestly, Schalke, in my opinion, looked pretty terrible last week. They did not look very good, but I think they are more talented than they showed last week. I think as the season goes on, they will be able to bounce back. Broken Blade did not have a very good week last week. Limit still looks a little bit lost, like he's still trying to find his footing. Obviously, we know how streaky and up and down guys like Abbedagge and Gilius can be. And then SK on the other side, they're still, Blue looked okay sometimes. Tinks, people are kind of excited for, but he didn't really, really kill it last week either. Jezu and Treats are interesting, but I think they're going to take some time to mesh and come together. So this is going to be another really, really weird game, and another game that's going to be really close, and I wouldn't really be surprised if either team wins. But I am kind of leaning towards the way of Schalke. I think obviously they have a little bit more experienced players, probably a little bit better team on paper. And even though they looked terrible last week, hopefully a week of scrims, hopefully a week of just continuing to play and learn and grow together. Hopefully we'll get some things under control for them. Next up, we have Astralis in G2. This was the team that was supposed to go 18-0 and the team that was supposed to go 0-18. Obviously, Astralis picked up a big win last week against Vitality, so maybe people are better than they expect. Also, this is kind of the game that everyone's been commenting on my videos like, hey man, this is a game that G2 is going to drop. Like, this would be the most G2 thing ever to look 3-0, dominant last week, and then drop to Astralis. And, it would be very, very G2, but man, they looked so good last week. I can't pick the meme game. I'm definitely going with the G2 win there. Next up, Rogue against Misfits. This is going to be a banger of a game. The team tied for first, Rogue 3-0. Misfits 2-1 in third place right now. This game's going to tell us a lot about just how legit Misfits is and maybe even just how good Rogue is. I mean, if Rogue absolutely smashes them, then Rogue is for sure legit. I mean, I already think Rogue is legit, but man, if they smash Misfits, that'll be a bad sign for Misfits. Maybe they're a little bit overrated, but Rogue looked so good last week. They're looking like Oduwamene is absolutely the answer for them in the top lane, just making this team so solid at every position. Inspired and Larson with a great start to the season. Hansama not missing a beat with Trimby in there. But Misfits has some pieces too. Hyrit started out the season very, very good. Vetheo, they have a lot of young players who are looking to prove something, but they also have a nice core of veteran leadership, obviously with Kabe and Vander as well. I really like what this team's doing. I hope they can continue to be as good as they showed in the first week over the course of the season, but I do expect Rogue to take this one down. I'm really, really hyped up for Rogue, and again, I'm really rooting for that 5-0 matchup next week, so that's what I want to see. And then finally, in the last matchup of the day, we have Vitality and Fnatic. Fnatic started out 0-2 last week. They were embarrassing. People were flaming them everywhere. People were saying Bwipo should be kicked. Hylissang should be kicked. They're inting. What are they doing? Fnatic sucks. But then they bounced back with a big win in the third game of the week, and they honestly looked pretty good. On the other hand, Vitality looked very up and down. For the most part, they looked very, very bad, and they also dropped a game to Astralis. When you do that, you're going to get memed on. You're going to start getting disrespected. I think Fnatic is going to get back on track here. They're going to move to 2-2. I see this as a pretty easy win for Fnatic here. And man, if Fnatic loses this game, then I'd be pretty concerned, because you do not want to fall to 1-3 if you're Fnatic, especially losing a game to Vitality right now where they are not looking too good. The next day, finally, we get to Saturday, day 2 of the games. We have Excel against Astralis. Again, same stuff for Astralis. I think they are the weakest team in the league. Maybe they're a little bit better than we expected, and they've shown they are capable of winning some games. But I honestly like this Excel team. I think they're going to be solid. I think this will be a good win for them to pick up some confidence and stuff, and I think it's a win they need to kind of take advantage of. Next, we get Misfits and SK. I do think Misfits will drop that game to Rogue, but then hopefully they'll come back strong and be able to rebound and still pick up a game against SK. Now, obviously, again, in a week where they are playing against Rogue, they're going to be preparing and scrimming and everything for them a lot more, trying to get their game plan ready. It's possible they could look over SK, maybe drop a surprise game to them or something, but I don't expect it. I think Misfits has looked pretty good. I think they're legit. I think they should be able to take that one. Rogue against Vitality. Again, this is, in my opinion, one of the best teams in the league against one of the worst teams in the league. I see Rogue taking this one pretty easily. I'm really, really hyped up for this team. Schalke against G2. I think Schalke's looked terrible to start the season, and I think G2 has looked really, really good. Pretty much the same stuff I talked about in the last game for these two teams. G2 looks absolutely insane. Their players are saying they want to go 18-0. They're, having the 18-0 watch. They're having all the memes, all the trash talk, and they're looking so, so good. Rekkles just looks great in this roster so far. I think he has like a 76 KDA or something ridiculous, and I don't really see it going down against Schalke. Yeah, I see this definitely being a win for G2. And then finally, the last game of the day, what should hopefully be a pretty banger matchup. If both of these teams show up and play as good as they can, it could be a banger of a matchup. But again, I think Fnatic is the better team on paper, and if Fnatic plays how they can, if they play under control, if not slow, but if they just play under control, they need to be aggressive. Players like Bwipo, Hylissang, Self-Made, they're at their best when they're playing aggressive, but not when they're getting out of control, playing too aggressive, just straight running down, straight inting, which is kind of some stuff we saw in the first couple weeks. I do like the fact that Nisqy has looked good so far for them, Upset has looked good so far for them, so it's not a concern of kind of getting the new players integrated in the team and stuff. It's getting the existing guys to kind of just play how they're supposed to do the things they're supposed to do. Mad Lions, again, I think Eloya and Arma they're good, they're solid players, and they're getting adjusted to the team. But again, replacing Shadow for this team is tough. And Humanoid, he had a weird week last week. He had a slow start to the season. And I think to beat a team like Fnatic, Mad Lions really needs their players all playing at their best. So until Humanoid shows me that he's really in form and he's really ready to start, carrying and winning some of these big games for Mad Lions, it's hard for me to pick them against a team like Fnatic right now. So even though I talked a ton of crap about Fnatic last week, I do think they should be able to come back and bounce back with a big 2-0 week. And yeah, that is my prediction. But again, upsets are always going to happen. Crazy stuff's always going to happen. I think I picked chalk for the most part, which probably usually isn't the best. But I'll definitely be watching all these games, looking out for all the spicy stuff. And hey, it should be a fun week again. It's not going to be as crazy as last week, not as crazy as the Super Week, but it should still be a ton of fun. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. It helps me out so much with the YouTube algorithm, and I would appreciate it greatly. Leave a comment down below. What do you think I got right? What do you think I got wrong? What matchups are you guys looking forward to this week? And what do your picks look like? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on anything we talked about in today's video. Subscribe to stay up to date on my latest content. We're trying to hit 7,000 subscribers as soon as we can in 2021. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!